we certainly were better fed than most because we didn't forage to the same extent as the Continentals. The Continental armies didn't have such a thing as the commissariat. The commissariat was the wagon train. That followed us everywhere and delivered our provisions, our ammunition, our food, all to our doorstep. When it did.
What about Burgos?
Burgos.
Let's talk about Burgos.
No. Right, so, other things in the pack. Here's where we get the local joke. This is, how many? How many? 4. 4 candles. The older ones will appreciate that. 4 candles. Not fork handles, 4 candles. You had to be a 2 Ronnies fan to get that one. Right? But these weren't used for light, for to read by, because soldiers didn't read. What is this one?
I've got no use for one of those.
Nah. Yeah, maybe throw that away sometime. There's some useless stuff in here. But anyway, comb for doing the sideburns. Andy recognise one of them? Andy in old service will know this stuff. It's a button stick. A button stick. And that is what you would do is to clean your button, put it behind it, get your cleaner, polish it up, and you didn't take the button off the uniform for to clean it, so you didn't get a dirty stain round your uniform. We had them then, maybe not in brass, they were usually a bit of laminate or something. A spoon, toothbrush, they had toothbrushes. They were bristle, but what was the toothpaste? Because they didn't have Gibbs, SR, what did they? Sugar. No, they didn't use sugar. And the exact opposite. They would use salt. And they would flavour the salt with sage. And they would sometimes mix a wee bit of soot in with the sage and the salt because it was a bit of a finer abrasive. Right, you would get a higher clean polish. Once you rinse it out, you get the black disappeared, the salt went away, and all the rest of it. Salt and sage was the toothpaste. Useful tool.
Don't call me one of those.
Oh no, you're not. Right, clothes pegs. Yep, have we got the laundry up? Oh yeah, the laundry's up, right. Useful. I've got a razor somewhere as well, it's not in that bag. So let's see what else. So you've got your old plates. Metal plates were useful because what you would do is you'd put them in the back of your knapsack. Because the French cavalry liked to circle on the back as a target. And they would try and slice you in two. But if you put metal plates in there, it gave you a wee bit of armour plating at your back. And it softened the blow. But they got wise to that and then they went for the headshots. So you started ducking. Sometimes. Yeah, you know you hadn't ducked enough if you didn't go back to duck again. But of course, you had to have a clean change of clothes. Clean shirt. Ish. I think it was about 3 weeks last Friday. Yeah, I think that was that laundry day? Was laundry day?
No, we were retreating at Burgos then.
Ah. It might have been, no, it was before Burgos. Well, it might be 4 or 5 weeks. But you never know, I might pull. You know, so I want a clean shirt. And a clean pair of trousers. You can see these are whites. These are my going outs, they're nice and clean. These again were, they might not be clean. I've got to stop sniffing. I don't know what that was, but that was the me. Gaiters to go over the top of the whites. Ah, interesting. Clappers? No. These are soles. If you look at these shoes carefully, they're actually not left and right. They're actually straight lasted. They're neither left nor right. And a soldier, when he joined the army, would be given 2 pairs of shoes. And that's all you ever got, was 2 pairs of shoes. After you wore those out, doing 20 miles a day, 9 months in the year, if you calculate it out, it's nearly 3,000 miles a year. Your 2 pairs of shoes wear out very quickly. The commissariat would slaughter bullocks, and they would actually have loads and loads of hide left. So they would cut a hide for you, and they would cut a template and give you as many soles as you wanted. So what you would do is you'd get down to 3 shoes probably. In the 3rd shoe you would keep cobbled. So you would wear 2, keep the 3rd. That was the one you worked on. When you finished, when you wore out one of the other 2, you would cobble that one, wear your good one and your old one. And then your 3rd one would be cobbled ready. You wore out the 3rd one and then you would rotate it. And that was the practice. In Portugal they actually got round this by they would just get part of a shoulder of an ox. They would wet it. They would fold it up into a boot, tie a lace round it, a leather thong lace round some holes, and pull it up round their ankles and just soak it over the foot. Once it dried out, it was an overboot, and it was brilliant. They were really, really good. Very common in the British Army because the shoes kept falling apart. There was one stage the shoes in the British Army were actually, insoles were made with carb. The privateers were making a fortune because they made the insoles of carb, not from leather. But British soldiers were resourceful, and most soldiers could cobble. Most soldiers could make their own shoes, or repair their own shoes. Recognise this one? A stock, a leather stock. You can see I'm wearing a cloth one. I'm at East today. Sore throat. Stock too much. So I was allowed not to wear this. But this is a deformed, this is actually sweated down. It's usually straight. And this is sweated down, and which has made it a bit more comfortable. Isn't it? Very comfortable.
They're actually cooler than the cloth stock.
They are cooler than the cloth stock. So what else have we got? Let's see. Most soldiers smoked. They liked a good pipe. They would do a change, and what you would do is you would have some black thick twist tobacco, which was very tarry, very, very bad for you. Do you smoke, young man? Yeah. What age are you? 10? Oh, you must be. Is this your wife? You married yet? You're not married either. 10 doesn't smoke, not married. Oh, you've got a lot of life to live, haven't you? Cool. Anyway, what you would do is if someone was offering you a smoke, right, you would share a pouch. So they would offer you a fill. So I would give them this one, and they would fill my baccy for me. Right, they would fill this one. Good draw, good bowl. I would give them a good pipe if I was giving them a fill because it's longer and it's nicer and it's better. But it also has a smaller fill. So instead of getting a good smoke out of me, they're getting a short draw. You know the expression? So that's... yeah, I know, but don't let's go into that. This is a Reading accent, remember? So, let's look at other things. A strop for cleaning my razor. We'll come back to that one. And that one. And that one. Oh yeah, there you are. This is a Victorian one, I'm afraid, but they did use the same. This is a razor, a cutthroat razor. As seen in Sweeney Todd and other things. And I'm quite good with it. I've only lost one year, right? It does work, right? So it's actually called a hamburger. It's from Hamburg in Germany. Yeah, and it's Victorian. And you would always have some bits of flax or material or bits and pieces because they're always useful for a variety of different things. Another cloth stock. Bits and pieces. An old charge. Right, it's got a ball in the end and it's got a short charge in it. That's a black ball. What else we got? Right, let's see. Any of you's good at cooking? Any recipes? Let's see. We've got this, a white powder. I put this on lightly yesterday.
Can I walk into it?
Oh, it's full of
A red
Step back,
powder,
you come round.
a black ball. There is another half somewhere. Any ideas? If I look for my... Ah, there you are. Right. So it's a little bottle of oil and vinegar, some red powder, some white powder and some black stuff. Any ideas? How about if you mix some oil and vinegar with this one, right? And you get a bit of cloth. And it's a metal polish. You wouldn't eat it, it's a metal polish. And that's what you clean your musket with. This is brick dust. It's the finest ground brick dust. And what you would do is you'd shake it around a little, get the big stuff to the top, scrape it off, and go for the finer stuff at the bottom. So you grade your powder. It's very good for polishing actually, it's just as good as Brasso. Right, a wee bit of oil and vinegar. A wee bit of oil and vinegar in the white stuff. That's for doing your crossbelts. You can see how white the corporal does his. Very poor corporal. But yeah, but that's pipe clay. So you would mix a wee bit of oil and vinegar with it, pipe clay. And it kept them nice and white and clean. The black ball, it's actually soot and beeswax. And it's actually waterproofing and boot polish. You can see I use it quite a bit. There's another half to that. And then of course, this is a typical soldier's knife. It's not sharp and it's round-ended. And it was actually probably the only tool I used generally. He was very lucky if he could get a spoon, because he would use that for a spoon. He didn't cut with it because he had a cutting knife. He would always have a good sharp knife in his pocket. This is something that a soldier very rarely had. I just pinched this off a dead Frenchman. It's good for roasting Frenchmen on the things on the fire. But it's a fork, and it's a two-pronged fork, and it's not worth its weight in metal. It's annoying. But as I say, if you were fortunate, you would carve yourself a spoon, a nice wee gentle spoon, and it was good for eating your brose or your barley in the morning if you were having some substantial. Sewing kit, needle and thread. That would be your pack, because every soldier was able to sew. He always knew how to repair. Mend and make do. Spare pair of braces. Yeah. Oh yeah. Aye. Right. So that's basically the kit. There's the other part of the black ball. This came from the colonies. Damn colonials. We were out there fighting the Yankees.
Strange chaps with funny accents.
Colonial guys, weren't they? Yeah, they had funny accents. Some of them spoke English, didn't they? Funny accents. And they came out with this stuff. I thought it was cheese, but it made my mouth fur up. Apparently you shave it and put it into water and you do laundry with it. It's soap, apparently. Foul stuff, it'll never catch on. These damn colonials, they don't know what... They actually use soap and water. How... I mean, when was my birthday? It was before we washed laundry, so that was 3 weeks last Friday. So it must have been 6 weeks ago. Yeah, it was my turn for a wash in the river.
You took a bit of a dunk at Villa Muriel, didn't you?
So we did. Yeah,
You had your clothes on for that one.
Yeah, I had my clothes on for that one, so I don't count that one as a proper wash. But yeah, Villarreal, yeah, that was a crossing and a half. So, and that's what a soldier would carry. A blanket or a greatcoat. If he was lucky, he would try and carry two, but you only ever get issued with one or the other. You never had all these luxuries. So let's look at the mystery tins. What we've got here is actually a tinder box. Tinder boxes existed long before matches and lighters. Matches and lighters are actually a Victorian invention. So I wouldn't even know what that was. matches. That's what you light cannons with. A slow match. Who's been enjoying the good weather recently and did barbecues? Yeah, everybody? And what did you cook your barbecue with? Charcoal, or we use posh? You've usually gas barbecues. Yeah. Right, okay. Posh people use gas barbecues. Us scum use charcoal. Although besides such a great wood, there must be charcoal burners around here somewhere. But this is actually char cloth. And what you do is you shred up an old linen shirt, throw it in a little tin with a hole in it, throw it in the fire, and let it cook about 10-20 minutes. You watch the white smoke come out the hole. When the white smoke comes out the hole, stops coming out the hole, you take it out and seal it. And you let it cook off. And after about 10-15 minutes, it comes out as char cloth. If you leave it any longer and you let it burn, it comes out as white cloth, ash. So you don't want to do that. So as I say, it's always handy having bits and pieces around. Char cloth, you talk to the artillery guys and you scrounge a bit of wadding off them. And this is flax. This is the flax plant crushed, dried, and it goes to make shirts if it's bleached and makes linen. So that's flax. So what you have is a bit of flax, a bit of char cloth. You talk to your blacksmith local, and you get them to knock you up a little bit of iron off a horseshoe, and it's a steel, as in the metal steel, or iron. So what you do is you get an old flint off the musket, and you check that it's loaded. So you check that you get a good spark. Sparking? It's sparking. Okay, we'll use that one then. So, as I say, they didn't have lighters, they didn't have matches, but a soldier would always have his tinder box. So what you would do,
This is the bit I like where he stops talking.
I've got a spark, but I'm not getting out. Ah, there we go. Then you would get a flame out of that and light a candle. Going all busy with that, Floyd.